Thanks, Mohammed. I can feel we're closing in now.
I know. There's nothing easy being Aberdeen Muslim. There's always something. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Welcome to the Aberdeen Muslim podcast. I am joined with our special guest, Reverend Roger from St. John's Church.
Thank you for your welcome.
Thank you very much for having us today, or joining us today with your presence. And I'm really grateful that we could come together and do a podcast. So firstly,
who is Reverend Roger?
Yeah, who's Reverend Roger, or Roger itself? Please, so we would love to know a little bit more about yourself.
Thanks, Sufyan. Well, it's just been a delight in the last few years to get to know yourself and others at the prayer hall in Crown Terrace. So I work at St. John's Church, which is next door, where I'm the priest. And I'm now past retirement age. So it's been a long journey in my life. I was born actually in the south of the UK, and my life seems to be moving me ever further north. I never thought I'd be in Aberdeen, but here I am. As a kid, at school, I thought I was going to be an engineer, and I started in construction, but I was not a very good engineer. And as I went to church, I kept having this sense that maybe God was calling me to work in the church. That was a very horrible thought to me. I didn't like that idea, so I didn't respond to it very quickly, but eventually I gave in and trained, and then I've worked in various churches, and through that I've ended up in Aberdeen.
Did you always believe in God, or what was your upbringing? Were you in a very Christian household? Were you non-religious, or was it a non-religious household? And also, what kind of sect of Christianity are you part of?
Thanks, Sufyan. Yes, it was. I mean, I owe a lot to my parents, who raised me in the Christian faith, and they were a wonderful example to me. The integrity between what they said and believed and what they did. That was a very strong thing, a big influence in my life. Having said that, I tried to shake the faith off as a teenager and as a young man. So I then found myself coming back into Christianity. As you know, there are different shades and types of Christianity. I always think it's a bit like the supermarkets. It's the same thing, but it's packaged differently. Yeah. And so I was living in England at that time, and I came back into Christianity, into something called the Church of England, which is part of the worldwide Anglican Communion. Lots of jargon. And here in Scotland, the Anglican Communion is the Scottish Episcopal Church. So that's who I now work for, and we're next door to the prayer hall in Crown Terrace.
Yeah. It's really great. It's really great to be part of with you in the mosque. We'll touch on that in a bit, but this segment we call is
what does faith mean to me every day, personally? Yeah. So I think for me, in my Christian faith, it's about having a relationship with God and relationship with others. So as I go through my day, I try to be aware of God's presence with me, talking to God, trying to listen for God. And then as I'm with other people, I'm trying to see God in them and relate to them in ways that I think God would want me to. So yes, it's something I'm aware of, not just because of my job, because I do Christianity professionally, but as a person, as part of my human, as a human being.
I want to add more of an added question to that is, so how does you believing God and being Christian affect your life? Like, for example, as a Muslim, since I've been more religious and more, in my deen of Islam, I've been, it has actually helped me become a better person, or has helped me become big comfort in life, i.e. meaning since I'm, been more studying more about Islam and becoming more aware of Islam and going to my deen, giving me comfort in life, where any struggles in life, I just, go with it, because I'm like, it's a plan of Allah, because, God works in different ways because what you think is a hardship, it might be good for you, or something that you said, "Oh, I wish did not." Well, could have led you astray, or could have done you harm. So I just want to more add that to you. How does your Christian faith, lead you to become a good person, or how does it make you shape you as a person?
Yeah, I would say my understanding and my experience has been very, very similar to yours, Sufyan. Yes, that as I experience God's forgiveness, God's mercy, I find I can live with myself, with the things I know I've not done right. That as I experience God's guidance, then I have wisdom to know how to live, and that I know that whatever situation, God is with me in it. But that just makes a huge difference. So yes, has a big impact upon my life and my peace within, because I have peace with God. And then the challenge is to try and live at peace with my neighbour.
Yeah. That's great. Talk about neighbourhood. So this question is mosque and church connection. So like you mentioned that, we have a really good connection with you. So basically to add on that, our church and your mosque has a really good bond, which is the first in the UK and the only one in the UK that has a strong relationship, where I remember where we used to pray in the church, vice versa. When you guys need space, we let you go into the mosque space. So how has that brought you, or how do you feel, to next ask you, how do you feel that has brought the community together regardless of the faith?
Oh, it's just been fantastic. Obviously it's a situation I've inherited from priests and from the mosque, the relationship they had prior to my being there, so I can't take any credit for it. But I think the wonderful thing is that a lot of the tensions come from not knowing each other, from not understanding each other, from not seeing the glory that we each have. We share the belief that every human being is unique, to be cherished, is wonderful, is God-made, and as long as we stand off from people that are different, then we can't see that and experience that. But once we start to get up close and in relationship, when we talk together, when we eat together, then we can see the divine in each other. That's just wonderful. That's wonderful. Obviously, then when you get close, things great. So we have to talk. Yeah, it's wonderful.
Amazing. That one thing you mentioned about is we eat together. Like every Ramadan, we love to always invite you or I forgot the other Reverend, that the Indian one that we always.
Yeah.
We love having you there. It's always great to invite you to a special month of Ramadan for you to break our fast with us, and it's really great because you want to eat the same with us, you want to enjoy the same food, and you come and hear the speeches, which is really great to see. And it's always beautiful to have you there in the mosque for us to, break our fast and for you to show our religion.
I think that hospitality is something that you do better than us. I think that Western Christians has been so infected by the sort of the rat race and the nuclear family and lots of different things, which I don't think are particularly to do with Christianity, but I think that we've been infected by it, and we've lost loving our neighbour as ourselves. And your hospitality is fantastic. I know you talk about
point one for us.
You talk about 1-0 to you. You talk about Ramadan, but I know that if I drift anywhere near the mosque door, I'll be invited in. I'll be given food.
This is why you don't park the car in the mosque anymore.
I'll be food. I'll be given drink. You know what I mean? And it's so much more than we extend. I think we can learn from you.
It's because I think with Islam, it's love. We see everyone as our brother. It's peace, regardless of faith. We treat you everything. That's why we don't care you're a Reverend or whoever. You're one of our closest neighbours and closest allies. So of course we have to treat you the same regardless of faith, which is really great. But that goes to my next point. That translates to my next point, is why interfaith matters. So why do you think it's important for Christians and Muslims to work together in this day and age, especially with you hear the law of far right and a lot of these in reform Brexit party, that is a reform party now, hijacking the Christianity faith to fit their own agenda, and people saying this is a Christian country, Islam doesn't belong here. How do you think that we're working us together works in this day and age?
Yeah. So Islam and Christianity together, we form about maybe half the world's population. It's really important that we get on. Really important we get on. And wonderfully, we've come from the same roots and we share so many things in common. One of the things that you do that's fantastic in Aberdeen Muslims is your work in your FoodBox work, where you feed people on the street. And so in the city we have similar food projects because of this shared belief in the uniqueness and value and God-given value of each human being. And I know at Christmas we tried to work together, we thought about working together on your collection of toys for the Children's Hospital, and that would have been fantastic if we worked together. The shocking thing was we were too busy in our church things to be able to join you in that, which was a real shame. So I think it's wonderful we can work together. We've got common roots, we've got lots of common values. Some things like social programs that we have in common would be fantastic if we could do together. Yeah, I think there's a lot we could do together.
Us doing the toys, but I wish we could done it together, but I understand your schedule was really busy, which I appreciate because, you know, it's Christmas for you and it was really important for us. Like for us, this Ramadan was really busy. So, but for us, it was really great because it was really great. Archery Foundation loved it. We did, we worked with the local gym, Snap Fitness. We worked with another church called, I forgot the name of it. But yeah, we worked with Hope. Oh, I think it was Hope, one of them charity. So it was really great and it was amazing. And I wish we could do that again. And hopefully this winter, we could do another winter appeal again to help our Archery Foundation because we regularly love doing work for them. But in my opinion, what really matters. But so basically, I want to add more of a point. Like, what is your feeling of these, you know, parties hijacking Christianity?
So at the minute, there's a big rise in what I would call Christian nationalism. And in Europe, we had the rise of Christian nationalism in the 30s and 40s, where people felt threatened, people withdrew to just be with their own and became violent towards others. And there's a rise in that again. And as you say, I think the false labelling of that being in the name of Christianity. So it's really important that we keep talking and we keep saying, no, love your neighbour as yourself. Love your neighbour as yourself. That's what we want. That's what we want to do. Yeah, not just love those that are like you as yourself, but love your neighbour as yourself.
So what drives you to serve others?
Serving others is a big thing for Christians, or should be a big thing for Christians. And it comes from our belief that everyone is made in the image of God, is the phrase we have. That in some way, every person is unique and has something about God about them, and they're to be valued and cherished. And so our belief is that we should be loving God and then loving other people and the whole of creation. That was a clear instruction from Jesus. Jesus said many things, but right at the heart of it, the really biggie that he said was love God, love your neighbour as yourself. Full stop. It's not very complicated. It's just complicated living it, trying to be it. trying to do that.
One thing, another question on that. What was the one thing you loved doing with the community? One project or a couple of projects you loved doing with the community?
Yeah.
Or any ones you did that-
Yeah, well, two things in the churches where I'm working at the minute. One of the times when we often see each other is on a Wednesday evening. We always have something at St John's on a Wednesday evening. And we often meet as we come in and out of our places of worship. And one of the things I like on the Wednesday evenings, we have a very quiet and mellow time of worship. And then people sit down and have refreshments and food together. And on that Wednesday evening occasion, we have many people that worship with us who are, their lives are very insecure for different reasons. Maybe housing, or their health, or the money they have. But together we can sit with God and sit with each other. And that's a very special time. The other one I love is, so as well as St John's, I look after a church at the top of Union Street, the big red doors, it's called St James, on Holborn Junction. And on a Saturday lunchtime, 12 till 2, we have something called Soup and Chat. Doors are open, and anyone who comes in, there's free food, and we sit and talk together. And we try and treat people with respect, and try and sit them as if, well, we try and treat them as if they were Jesus. They're special, they're our guests. And not just to rush people through, try and give them the best attention we can. And again, many people that come to that, their lives may be quite chaotic in many ways, but it's wonderful to see what's within them as we sit and eat and talk together. So that's two bits of my week that I really love.
We do something similar to that. That's FoodBox we do. So recently we got gifted some food parcels by Amex, sponsored by Islamic Relief. So I assume production can, sort out some package for yourself, because you mentioned a lot of people who come to church are not in a great situation. So if we've got a lot of food, so if they need some stuff, we can get production to sort it out and then hand out to you guys whenever you need, because we've got some left that's not being allocated anymore. So we would love to give out and help out the community. That's one thing we want to do, is serve the community, because one thing that Aberdeen Muslim is, yeah, we might be called Aberdeen Muslims, but one of our key thing is helping the community of Aberdeen, because me as a born Aberdonian, I see people in Aberdeen as my own people, and that's one part of, again, our faith, is to treat our neighbours like our own. One of the best quote I said, that I love, that our Prophet ﷺ said, that you should give someone that is the same thing that you love. I might be butchering that quote, but example, if I love Haribos,
yeah,
I should give you Haribos. I shouldn't go get the Audi branded version. You should give what you love to your neighbours, or give love to things. So what I would love is, we got some food parcel, and I'm soon after the interview we could get production to give you some, or we could drop off to you and give that, which would be really great.
Thank you. It's just wonderful, isn't it, that thing of to love someone else, to want the best for them, to give them the best you can, the best attention you can, the best food you can,
Which is great, and I think that's what thing I think it's lacking in what it's done, because these people, I know I keep mentioning about that, I feel like these people are trying to divide us, trying to get us, trying to divide us, trying to divide us and trying to segregate us. And one thing I'm trying to do in Aberdeen Muslims is not to do that. I'm trying to make us work together. That's why we do a lot of work with outside the Muslim community, because we love doing it, and I think that makes us stronger and makes us shown that this is real Islam, isn't what the media is trying to portray us as. So what's something positive you learned from working with the Muslim community?
So I think, as I've already said, hospitality. Gosh, you show us up. So
2-0.
to hospitality, and then so we share many spiritual disciplines that are the same: giving, fasting, praying, and in Western Europe, as Christians, we're very sleepy about our spiritual disciplines. Have you prayed today? Have you given this week? When did you last fast? People pray rarely, give sparingly, seldom fast. Whereas I see those practices. I don't know. I mean, I've no idea what proportion of your community is engaging in your spiritual practices. But so obviously I only see the practicing Muslims. But so I think it's very challenging to see your commitment to spirituality. Because I think these things are so important, isn't it? We believe things in our head. How are we going to get ourselves changed? How are we going to become more like what we want to become like? How are we going to become more like God? And I think it's as we engage in these activities, prayer, giving, fasting, action, loving our neighbour practically, that the Spirit of God works on us, rubs off those horrible, gnarly bits, and helps us become more like God. So I find your spiritual discipline is very challenging. Hospitality, spiritual discipline.
That's amazing. But okay, the next point is I want to talk about the Palestine situation. The media likes to point Palestine is only Muslims, but we know Palestinians are not just Muslims. Their majority are not majority, but most of them are Christians. And one thing the media didn't touch on is that the IDF did bomb indiscriminately the second oldest church called Saint Promoth in Gaza. Yes. That destroyed, and the media to talk about this. And so, what was your opinion? What really hurt you? Did it hurt you? Did it hurt you? What was your feeling against it? Because a lot of Christians have been killed, and that's one thing the media doesn't touch on. Is they just say it's only Muslims, but I know a lot of Christians have been killed in this whole genocide.
Yes, genocide. It is genocide. So I know that you collect and give to your brothers and sisters in the faith who are under pressure. I can't remember what you call it.
Zakat. So we have to give 2.5% of our wealth in Ramadan as zakat, and then we could do fitra and all that stuff.
Yeah. So in similar way, last year in 2024, in our churches in Aberdeen, we had a collection for Christian hospitals, medical units in Gaza, which were being hit by from the air, from snipers, and so on, and church communities, and we gave through the Diocese of Jerusalem. So we feel an identification with these folks. Yes, and was greatly moved Christmas before last when the church in Gaza, I think it was in the church in Bethlehem, in response to the Gaza and West Bank violence, had what they called a rubble nativity, where rather than having Jesus in a nice manger, they had him amongst rubble and born there as a symbol of where they were as Christians amongst the rubble. And so here in Aberdeen, Christmas before last, when of part of the Saturday afternoon demonstrations about the Palestinian situation, we had a a rubble nativity where we laid a baby in the rubble. So yes, we feel identified with people. I'm shocked that it's become normalised that this war is continuing, and I am not as zealous and as angry about it as I was a year ago. This last week I saw some footage on the news of this new wave of attacks in northern Gaza. Just huge munitions being used, and of seeing streets completely destroyed. And again, I was horrified and angry about this. So for ourselves, it's something in our churches that we pray about when we gather, believing that God involves us in prayer, and that somehow is connected with God's work in the world. So we pray for peacemaking, for justice, for relief. And then we've tried to be involved in our small way, as I say, in supporting some of the Palestinian Christians. But it's shocking how quickly it becomes kind of normal that this is continuing, this horrific thing is happening as we sit here. Yes.
It's really sad, and but I got another added question. That what's your opinion on these Christians who are so-called Christian who support the IDF and say Israel has to support Israel and this whole genocide? Because I know they don't speak for Christian. That's not Christianity themselves. Because I don't know if they're unaware or they're just ignorant or they've got rooted hatred against Islam, where they claim they're Christians but they support the Israel who kill discriminately Muslims or non-Muslims or Christians itself. Because there's been videos of Jewish people, Christian people walking past and Jewish people spitting at them or throwing harassing words or throwing rocks at them or throwing items or anything at them. So what's your opinion on that? People who claim to be Christians but support Israel and the genocide?
Mm-hmm. So within Christianity, there's been two streams, I think, really, of feeling about the use of violence. Can you bring justice through violence? Can the kingdom of God be brought through violence? So there's always been a strand of pacifism within Christianity. Some Christians that will not bear arms. They will not. They would rather be killed than kill. The majority opinion has always been that you can use force to protect the vulnerable, for the keeping of peace, the keeping of justice. And then within that stream of Christianity, there's been lots of thought about the ethics. How do you go about that? And then quite clear guidelines about how you can use force and violence. And in the ethics there, we believe that violence should not be used against civilian people, that it should not be indiscriminate, that it should not be disproportionate. And in the situation that we see of the bombing and the military action in Gaza, clearly these guidelines are being broken. So some Christians would be, of the pacifist stance, would be horrified with any war making, and then other Christians would be horrified about the indiscriminate and disproportionate use of violence. So yeah, so I think that's where the majority of people are.
But yeah, I don't know if you answered it, but but I don't think I got a proper good answer. I'm apologies if it sounds like a loaded question, but what is that opinion where people go on social media and claim that they are Christian and they say, yes, Israel should be killing Palestinians and all that stuff, but they claim they are?
Well, I don't think anyone should be killing other people. So the question is how we bring peace from this terrible situation. Yeah. And it's very difficult as you go back. There's every action and reaction. So people who are supportive of the current Israeli action, well, they would point to the Hamas attacks, and then Hamas would point to, well, what about the abuse of people in Gaza before that, and so it goes back, and there's the Iqba, yeah. So I think if you're looking backwards, you can always justify what you're doing now. The key thing is, how can we get past that and build bridges into a better future? And I really don't know. I just don't think you can't build that through violence, through eradicating people, through destroying neighbourhoods. That's just not.
Okay. To end, a few last questions. So one question I have for you. What keeps you hopeful about the current world we're living in? How does it keep you strong in your faith? And how does it keep going forward with your head held high?
Yes. Well, I mean, we live in hard times, don't we? So we're seeing destruction of the ecology of the world, destruction of species, destruction of the environment. We're seeing wars erupting all over the place, and a lot of people are very scared. And I mean, you talked several points about extremism, and people tend to go back into extremism then, don't they, if they feel threatened. How do I keep hope? Well, I believe that God's in charge, despite the mess that humans are making. I believe that God's Spirit is moving in the world. And whenever I see justice, peacemaking, love, mercy, the sharing of things, then I believe that the Spirit of God is moving still. I believe that as Christians, we believe that history is moving towards a purposeful end, that God is in charge of the end, and that this life is not all that there is. So I continue forward in that hope that God's purposes will be worked out despite the mess.
That's great. Before we end, we got a special. So it's a thing like we like to do at the end of every video, but so it's called 6 seconds to speak of the Akhirah. I.e. means speak to Allah. So you got 60 seconds before you depart from this world and you go see God. What would be your final message?
To the world or to God?
To the world before you meet God. You got 60 seconds.
To the world, yeah.
To the world. You got your last message, and
Okay.
then last message, and you want to meet God.
And I'm going to do that now?
Yes.
Okay.
So you got 60 seconds to answer the question.
Yeah.
What would be your closing statement to the world?
My closing statement would be, I give thanks to God for the gift of life that I've had, for all that I've learnt, for all I've been blessed with. And the most important thing in my life has been coming to know God through the person of Jesus. And I want to encourage anyone to explore a relationship with God, because I think that's what we were made for. And that is what gives us peace in this life and carries us through into the next.
Do you have any message you want to say to the audience who are, watching the videos? Anything you want to say to the audience?
So I just want to thank you, Sufyan, because this is just typical of how you are. So you've given over in your blog. you've given over your time to having a Christian come and speak. And I hope that we would show you the same grace and hospitality, that we would hear you, we would hear what you had to say, that we could learn from you too. And so my thanks to you for letting me speak.
Thank you very much for coming, and because I know you're very busy, and I really appreciate you filling up your diary to come here, and it's been really amazing. Because again, come back to the previous point, is working together makes us stronger, and it's amazing. So it's been really great having you, Roger, and we hope to work with you soon even more. That's everything from us. I am Sufyan. I've been blessed to have Reverend Roger in the Aberdeen Muslim studio with you to speak with the podcast. So please sponsor Aberdeen Muslim. For us to continue doing this hard work, we need your support. So please, all the links will be below to give us support. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Goodbye. Thank you. If anyone's been to Aberdeen in the last 2 weeks, we've got a completely false view of our weather, haven't they? Yeah. It's like...
Oh, yeah.